Now that is quite embarrassing. Truck's hot right now, so it's not doing it like it has been doing it, wherein from startup it is squealing like that the whole time till it warms up a little bit. I think when it warms up, the belt actually ends up stretching out a little bit. It was squealing a little bit with the old alternator. Put that new alternator in, and it made it even worse. Basic idea, what you would do to basically fix this would be get a belt that's about an inch longer and it goes away. I think I've got a compound problem here. One, that alternator is longer, but two, I've got something going on with my power steering because my power steering is really sluggish right now. The other thing I've got, you can see there's a pulley down there with no belt on it. That's the air pump. Yeah, it's just a smog piece, and okay, you could ignore that if you wanted to, but I do have to pass smog here. They look and actually do want pictures from the smog sites to go with the file when they pass you for smog. So they get stupid strict here, even here in Salt Lake County. The thing is, this is already a 123-inch belt. And they wrote the part number right there. By they, I'm talking about Turbo Garage. I don't know why they didn't look and try to figure out a longer one to catch that pump. They said they were having trouble getting it. I am going to try. I'm going to try. Just basically count the ribs on this belt and then go look up and see if I can find one that's big enough. One of my concerns is maybe I'm not getting enough engagement on the power steering pump. And with this Procharger in here, you can see where that's actually drawing it further. So I don't know. I'm gonna do what I can to find a longer belt that'll fit this. Now, here's how you go about that. So I've got this little flexible tape measure that came from GT mat. That's a lot of the sound control mat that I've got in this truck. Company out of Texas. I've been using their stuff for years because I like to try to find things that are in America as much as possible. You can do it with a string. You just end up measuring what your string is. But can I do that one-handed? You see how flexible that is? Basically, I'm going to need to take it from where it wraps around here, go around that belt to where it would intercept. So I need another loop coming off of the tensioner. That's the tensioner pulley. And this one's just an idler pulley. So it needs to come off the tensioner, wrap around that, and then go back up, tracing where the rest of the belt goes, which is down to the crank. And it's just a matter of seeing if you can get enough tension on things and things to work correctly. I don't know. I'm kind of playing around here. I don't think I can get you a camera angle on that, but I think if you understand what I'm talking about, you can do it with string or a flexible tape like this. And you figure out where it departs on that side. Ouch, everything's hot. On that side comes around, goes around there, and goes around to where it would... Because right now it goes off of the tensioner straight down to the crank. And you know, I wonder about engagement with the crank, but that's how stock would have been anyway, so it should be enough engagement with the crank, because you got the water pump right there, idler, alternator, tensioner, air pump. And yes, if you don't live in a smog place, you can get an idler wheel in place of this whole smog pump thing. And so you can totally ditch that if you're in a place that doesn't take smog. Those parts exist. They're from GM, and they were built for years that didn't have the smog pump. The smog pumps have been around since the 90s or so. But let me see if I can get some measurements, all nice and tight, all nice and hot in there, because I've been driving the truck. And outside we're in the high 90s. Nice warm July day. Alright, sorry I can't film that. I don't have 16 hands. I do need 16 inches though. And the best I can do with only 2 hands. That's my best guesstimate. That ain't another 16 inches of belt. So I'm going to see if I can get anything that's plus or minus that. And hope the tensioner can soak up whatever else I need it to. So I'm going to order that belt, and then we'll see if I can install it. It's going to be a couple seconds for you, a couple days for me. Because I doubt this belt will be locally available. Alright, parts came in. This one here, AC Delco, made in USA, that's nice. It specs out to be 139.57 inches, 6 rib belt. Let's see if this is what I've got. On best measurements I can get, it says this is what should be pretty close. Hoping I can catch that air pump and get everything running, and hoping when I start it up I don't hear that squeal. Part of me thinks that squeal may also be this power steering pump, which will be a warranty issue because I only just put that thing in a couple months back. Ordered from Jegs this nice tool. Nice long arm to be able to do your belt tensioner to detorque it. That brand, the thing about that brand is that's something you pick up anywhere you go, any of your auto parts store. So I don't know, I guess what Jegs is your online cheap stuff. Alright, I'm gonna get into it. So one of the things to do is actually take a picture of this whole belt routing. Tempted to go and actually draw it out in marker on and leave it on there once I've got it routed. You can kind of tell how it goes because some are ribbed and some are smooth depending on where the belt's going to ride on it, but still it's kind of helpful to have the diagram. So this little kit's kind of fun. So you have the two bars. The main bar, you can use with the crow foot. This will now make this the first crow feet that I've got. That's 13, 14, 15 comes in it. This one's a 15, 16, 18. But this I find curious. This extension, which goes up to the half-inch, you can put it on that way, but you can also clock it. So if you had different reach problems or different things you're getting into, depending on your engine and your application, but kind of interesting. I don't think I'm going to need more than just this one and one of the crow's feet. I forget what size that one is. It could be one of these. We'll see. So the crow's foot thing wasn't really working for me. Got one of my sockets on there, 13 mil. And just get in there, pull it over to here till you're loose. I don't know how good you can see what I'm doing, but I like to get it off of this idler pulley. And once it's off that idler pull, it pretty much comes off of everything else. Set that aside. And here we go. Let the adventure begin. I'm going to put the camera down because I need both hands for this. Alright, here I am figuring out some stuff. I could have sworn the boys at Turbo Garage had told me they put a 123-inch belt. I'm getting more like this thing's probably 112-inch because I'm using my tape measure. Made some marks. This tape measure only goes to 60. Starting mark was right here. Ran around here to 60, run around here, I get to 51. Figure some slack in here, it's not exact. So 112-inch belt. That would be why this one is way too long for me, by about a foot. I am probably going to take and put this belt back on, go drive over to my friends at O'Reilly's, and see if I can find a belt that'll fit that way then. I'm going to double check all my math and measurements here, make sure I'm barking up the right tree with this one. But I could have sworn, and also, that makes sense though, because if the numbers are actually 1, 2, I was thinking 1, 2, 3, no, it should be 1, 1, 2, so it's a 112-inch belt. I don't know what that 3 is for. So after the 06, so 06 is the ribs, 112 inches. So that's what's on there, and it's too tight, and it doesn't capture the air pump, so this should be a lot easier to get to because that 139-inch belt was one of the longest ones I was finding. So if I need something less than that, then I'll be alright. Of course, the numbers on this one, numbers I was just talking about on the other one, this belt is a Gates belt. It's supposed to be a world leader, usually made in China. This one, an actual GM AC Delco belt, I don't know where their numbers designate the length. Because this thing's supposed to be, when you look up the specs, it specs at 139.57. Interesting measurement there. I'm guessing it's a more modern one for a Duramax or something like that, just looking at what I was researching. Alright, so numbers are kind of matching up. This is from the truck. I made a mark here and here, 19 inches. So I need to pull 19 inches out of the belt, which matches with the math I need there. So if this is 139, take away 19, 120. 120-inch belt is probably what I need. Okay, never mind my screwies with maths. That's what the guys at Turbo Garage have put on, a 112-inch belt. It came with a 113-inch belt. The kit from Procharger. This will skip the air pump. That's the way Procharger meant for it to go. I don't like that idea. I'm looking at it. I need about a 120-inch belt. I'm going to go look for one of those at O'Reilly's. I'm going to put this one on and hope that solves some of my squealing, because I think the squealing is kind of like when the belt's too tight. So I'm going to put this one on and see how it works, because I think when I put that new alternator in, it just somehow tightened it up too much. We'll see what happens. Okay, for now I've wrestled that 113-inch in. Let's see if this actually controls some of the squeaks. I am worried that some of my squeaks are coming from my power steering down here. It's not easy. I don't have a whole lot of room in here. With this electric fan kit in here, I am pretty much low on space, hard to get in there. You can see how dirty I've got my hands, but we'll see. We'll see what we've got. I'm going to see if this actually runs without squeaks.
Squeaking, no squealing, just an inch longer belt. Seems to be driving everything just fine. Next stop, O'Reilly's, see if I can get a belt that I want. Quick trip to O'Reilly's, which is what I should have done the other day when I was working on this, because they had it right off the bat. K06119.5. I mean, that's what that means. It's a 6 rib with 119.5 inches worth of run, and that captures the air pump and everything. Belt's pretty tight, decently tight. So let's start it up and see what happens. Still getting squeal when I drove down there, which I do believe is now not too tight a belt squeal, but I think I have a power steering pump problem, which fits the symptoms of a power steering pump leak that I've got. So, you got a Procharger kit on an OBS 454. That's your animal right there. That's the one you're gonna want. Let's see if I'm as smart as I think I am. No squealing off the bat. It seems to be running everything. I'm a little concerned about the low voltage on the alternator. Yeah, I think that's it. All right, so there it is. I think I've got it. I'm not sure why they didn't figure that out at Turbo Garage, because that seriously took me a trip up and down the road to O'Reilly's to find one that was right. The one that came with the Procharger was 113 inches. Again, Procharger, who is going to discontinue this kit for OBS's, why didn't they have that figured out? It's as simple. It was on the shelf at O'Reilly's. Didn't even have to special order it or nothing. So 119.5 inch belt. Seems pretty tight. Seems like all the accessories are running. I'm not getting any belt squeal from too tight a belt, which that's a good sign too, which that 112-inch one was given, which means I need to erase that. That right there has got to come off, and then I got to write the proper number on this. We'll do that in a second. But if you come this far, appreciate you watching. If you're going to put a Procharger on your truck, it really is not that hard to find the belts, is what I'm seeing. It only took me a couple of days because I ordered one online instead of just going to O'Reilly's and getting one that fits right off the bat that they had on shelf. O'Reilly has on shelf on up to 150 inches. Most of these long belts like these, they go to Duramaxes, but they're still the same width. 6 ribs, same width, they fit all the pulleys, boom, you're in. So it's working. All right, appreciate you watching. We'll catch you on the next one.